What's up, everybody? Today's day 31 through 32 of being homeless. So, I forgot to do a video yesterday. So, this is a double day video. Technically, this is day 32 of being homeless, but yeah, I forgot to do a video on the day 31. So yeah, this is a 2 day. Anyways, yeah, day 31 to 32, technically day 32 of being homeless. Nothing really positive to report. Um, just nothing. The only kind of hope that we have going, well, I mean, there's a few things, but one of the things is there's housing programs in the United States to where if you're low income, they'll help you pay like a portion of your rent. So we applied for one of those things. So let's just say, because we actually had that when we were in Utah. That's where how we were able to get an apartment there, and they pay like 90% of your rent, literally like 90% of your rent for a time, like say 2 or 3 months or something, or no more longer than that, several months to a year, whatever. Anyhow, um, yeah, I think so. When we were in Utah, our rent was like 1,200 a month, and we were only paying like $80 a month, whatever percentage that is. And so we're trying to get the same thing here. We applied for this housing program, and the only problems is you have to, like, okay, when we were in Utah, we were in uh, Salt Lake City or Salt Lake County, and so when we got approved, you had to get housing within Salt Lake County, and that's one of the things I didn't like about Utah is the Salt Lake City area is not that great. Um, that's where like there's a lot of pollution there. There's more crime there. There's more homeless there. It's a busier city. It's kind of like living in Los Angeles. It's big city's got big city problems. So, um, it's the same thing here. If we do get approved for this housing thing, we have to stay in this area in the desert, which I've told you guys before I don't want to do. But I mean, a house is a house is a house. And so you just deal with it in the meantime until you're able to leave again. So that's kind of one thing we're hoping for is to get that. We already applied for the housing, and they're supposed to contact us anytime now, saying basically how much they will pay, and basically what we have to do to get it and whatever. So that's just what we're waiting on right now. Everything's kind of on hold until then, but it'd be so nice because then we could actually get a house. Like I said, even if as a matter of fact, we might even have to move more into like the outskirts of the Southern California desert to where it's even cheaper. It just really depends on how much percentage of the rent they pay, or like up to what amount they pay, or whatever. Because housing here, literally, it goes like for like say a two bedroom, two bathroom. I think it goes for like around 2,000 a month or something like that. And if they're not paying a significant portion of that, we can't afford that. And so we might have to look for somewhere that's say 1,500 a month or $1,000 a month if we could find. It's almost impossible to find in Southern California $1,000 a month rent. I mean, you're living out in the middle of freaking nowhere if you want $1,000 a month rent. Even in some really ghetto places, like say in Los Angeles or wherever, San Francisco or something, you're not finding $1,000 a month in rent because the land is just so much. So yeah, that's the thing about California. It's just so expensive. But yeah, so So yeah, so we might have to move out to the middle of nowhere. And when I say middle of nowhere, I mean there's not as many. Like there's no stores, there's nothing. It's just like maybe there's some houses, and you're lucky if there's like a Walmart or something like that. But like I said, house is a house. That's the main goal, you know, because you know we have a kid. It's me, my girlfriend, my son, and our dog. And when you have a family, it's different when you're homeless, because you're really trying to struggle to not be homeless on the street. You're trying to either make it so where you can stay in a hotel or have some kind of shelter in a homeless shelter or something. You're really trying to avoid living on the street. The majority of people you see living on the street are single people, and so they could do it. It's easier to do that, to be homeless on the street and mobile like that when it's just you, maybe just you and your dog. You just suck it up and you sleep under a bridge or you do whatever you got to do. But when you have a family, it's not you can't do that. So we're really trying to avoid that. So yeah, if we can get a house with this housing program, it'd be really great. It'd be really great. Matter of fact, that's the only way we're gonna get out of this homeless situation. Pretty much, is if that happens, because that's the problem before. That's the reason why we left California before. We went. The reason we became homeless before, is because my dad passed away, and so we had to leave the house that we were living in. And I was working. I was working at Domino's Pizza as a delivery driver. I was making not only hourly pay, I was making tips, but it just wasn't enough. You got to make so much money. And like I said, my son. So my girlfriend takes care of my son. That's kind of like her job. She takes care of my son, and he gets Social Security disability, but even that's not a lot. And it's like she can't, since her job is watching him, it's not like she can go get another job. That's her job, is watching him. And so I was working, and it just wasn't enough. And so that's the problem. It's like people think, oh well, just get a job, and I really really hate when people say that. Just get a job, like that solves all your problems. It doesn't, especially in today's economy. Just simply having a job. There's actually a word for it. It's called the working poor. That's what I was before. Last time we were homeless, I was working, making money, making tips, and it's just not enough. I was literally working poor. It's the working poor is like when you're working and you know doing your thing, and it's still not enough to pay all your bills, because it's not just rent. See, when you get a place, it's not just rent. It's rent, it's gas, it's electric, water. Sometimes you have to pay for trash. All this stuff. Housing is expensive in general. I don't care where you're at, but especially in California, and especially when at that time rents were more around, like, I don't know, say 1,500 a month. But the other problem is in California is you can't just say, okay, I earn 1,500 a month, I could get a place. No, 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 no. There's income requirements. So let's just say rent is $1,000 a month, for example, right? In California, you got to earn between 2.5 and 3 times the rent in order to qualify. So say a place is just $1,000 a month, you got to earn between $2,500 to $3,000 a month in income just to qualify. You have to earn 2.5 to 3 times what the rent is to qualify for the either house or apartment or whatever. Okay, and it's like, okay, well, that's not so bad. Yeah, if rent is $1,000 a month and you're making 2,500, or 3,000, whatever, right? But when rent is $2,000 and you got to earn 3 times, that means you got to earn $6,000 a month. It's like, I don't earn 6,000. You working full time? Oh, and they don't count tips. That's the other problem. They only count like hourly pay. They only account like what's on your paycheck. So you can't be like, oh well, I got all this money on tips. They don't count that when you're applying for a place. And then there's other requirements when you're applying for a house too. It's not just income requirements. Like nowadays, they're even stricter. They have what's that called? I can't think of the word. Credit score. Because we've been calling places to just kind of get an idea, and they're like, "Oh yeah, you have to have a credit score, like a high credit score." So what do you mean high? Like 600? Or they're like, "Oh no, like at least like 700 or something like that." I was like, "What?" So there's that. There's income requirements. There's credit score that you have to meet. You have to have good rental history, good credit. It's not like we're not. This isn't 1950 anymore. Cash is not king anymore. Credit is king. Okay, income is king. Yeah, you can't. Let's just say I had $100,000. That doesn't guarantee me that I'm gonna be able to rent a place. They don't just care if you have money. They're like, okay, you still have to have a high credit score. What's your income? Because they'll be like, okay, yeah, you have $100,000, but you could blow that tomorrow. You could go to Vegas and blow that tomorrow and not be able to pay rent. They want to see income. They want to know that you have good credit. Know that. All that stuff. So just having money is not good enough. Like I said, credit, good credit score, a lot of income, good rental history, all this kind of stuff. And it's like, so it's really hard to get a place. It's really hard to get a place. So that's the problem. And so with these housing programs, they usually kind of get you into worse places. It's like these places that are kind of just hard up to rent to people. And so the housing program comes in and say, hey, we're going to pay 90% of the rent. And so they kind of waive the credit and all the other things because you're going through the housing program. So basically, if we get approved for the housing thing, it's like we'll only be able to get a place at select locations that are willing to go through the housing program. You see what I'm saying? And which is fine, but it's only a certain place. So like when we lived in Salt Lake City, it was a really really ghetto place. I don't know if my camera just turned off or not. I just did something. I think my battery might be running out. Anyways, so that's where we're at. Day 31 to 32 of being homeless. That's the situation. That's where we're at. See you guys tomorrow. Unless I forget to make a video, or if I die, or whatever. All right.